for the Philippines, I think the concern is how to have a long-term vision that can match the vision of China. And to some extent, that is a function of both our history and our constitution. We have a presidential system, which means that policies can change every 6 years. And the stark contrast is seen in the bipolar characteristic of foreign policy under the Aquino and the Duterte administration. I think that's rather clear. And that places us immediately at a disadvantage precisely because China has a vision that connects a view of history with a role of the future. And that seems rather consistent, and they have persistently pursued that kind of an interest.
On the fishery resources, the primary concern for us really should be the impact on our fishermen, because unlike, say, China, which has a very large population of fishermen, but they are also engaged in very industrialized methods of fishing. When we see Scarborough Shoal, for example, the destruction of the coral habitat in Scarborough Shoal, anyone of you can look at it on Google Earth. When you see that, it really, for us who have been in this advocacy for a very long time, it really hurts here, Talaga matindi yung tama, and you really feel very emotional about it, because they're not taking just the fish, they're taking the habitats away. So for us, I think that would be, the conversion of Scarborough Shoal into an artificial island. That threat is always hanging there. And one reason why I always criticize basically the current administration's very soft policy is that despite all this friendliness, despite all the passage of time, we have not secured a written and clear commitment that that will not be done. Fine, we are faced with a particular challenge of joint development, assuming na nag-commit na talaga yung gobyerno. Well, actually, nag-commit na nga sila, at least from all the public statements. So the challenge is ano yung safeguard to make sure na hindi nga mangyari yung sinasabi ni Florin na waiver or estoppel. And I think that there may be ways to go about it. I am actively involved in efforts to try to find that. And we even have discussions as well with Chinese counterparts, because they also have problems with this. It's not just us having problems with the concept. On the Chinese side, there are also problems with the concept.
But we all know the administration's failure to uphold the arbitral court ruling did not deter China from continuing its activities in the West Philippine Sea. The recent developments in the South China Sea do not just threaten the maritime security of the Philippines, but also of the Asia-Pacific region. Now more than ever, we need to take our stance against those who want to prevent the Filipinos from claiming what is ours and trade our sovereignty or sovereign rights for short-term economic gains. More than our legal responsibility, it has become our moral obligation to the Filipino people to protect the victory that we have won and to promote international law in a rule-based international regime.
So, China bilateral diplomacy, what is not pointed out frequently, because one of the ways we judge systems is by looking at the history. China has resolved in the last 3 or 4 decades 17 out of 23 disputes. There's 12 out of 14 land disputes that have been settled, all of them peacefully, not to say that there have not been skirmishes here and there. And now the sea disputes, one has been resolved, there is 3 left, including with Vietnam, Malaysia, and the Philippines. So, if we compare that with Cris, and China gave more than 50% of the territory in many of these situations, why are these not being publicized? So, peaceful settlement include these countries, and China will wait. Its perspective is very long. So I guess that's also the product of the political system. In our case, it's 6 years. They can wait 99 years. So that's part of the things we have to take into account next week.